going to be a bump you walk.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say I dabbled in stand-up or something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Okay. Yay, we're back. Hello. Sorry, I apologize for my technological retardation.
Can you say that? Can you say that word?
We can, because I had a retarded uncle.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Not all words are canceled.
He gave me the R pass.
You have R pass. Excellent.
I have an R pass. It's home laminated.
All right.
I should have brought it.
Fantastic.
I really should have brought it. I'm here with like the very iconic brick suits man who I've seen your picture everywhere. You're kind of a celebrity, but you're also a mystery in that I don't know what you do. I don't know like how you came to be involved in politics. So just give me your kind of origin story, if you don't mind.
Well, let's lead up to the origin story with a little bit of background.
Okay.
Right? So
you're from California. I remembered that.
I grew up in San Diego, and first election that I ever voted in, that was old enough to vote in, was 1984. I voted for Ronald Reagan for president. And then I went away to college and discovered how the government actually worked, and was so disillusioned by the fact that it really wasn't about the people. It was about the lobbyists and the corporations and the politicians, and just flowing the money, and the people were out of the equation. So that threw me off from politics enough that I didn't vote. I wasn't even registered to vote. So not only was I did not vote, but I was not registered to vote from 1984 to 2018.
Wow.
So it's a long time,
It's like your entire adult life.
Pretty much, yes. And then, I would just have described my beliefs then as being what is now known as America First, but there was no politician to crystallize that. So when President Trump was running, even then, I was not a supporter of President Trump. Did I want Hillary to lose? 100% yes. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I was on election day, and you saw those returns coming out.
They were so sure of it, too.
I know. It just made it so much better. And, even after President Trump won, I still wasn't convinced that he was going to be an effective president. I just thought at least Hillary's not here.
You're like, oh, he's a celebrity. He's not a politician.
I didn't know. And then once he got in office, within the third or fourth day, we were out of the Paris Climate Accord, and we were out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And those are two things I thought were incredibly detrimental to America, that were just foregone conclusions. And the fact that he made them go away like he said he would, just made me start paying attention.
Why was that in particular so good for the country to be out of those?
Well, the Paris Climate Accord is basically penalizes America in terms of how we get our energy sources, while allowing India and China to continue to produce coal-fired energy, which benefits their economy because they don't have to spend money to upgrade their energy sources, where we would be saddled with those costs. So it puts America at a competitive disadvantage. Okay. And we're still going to get the pollution anyways, because all of China's air is just going to come across the Pacific into California. So we're going to get that. And it's not going to really save the environment. All we're doing is allowing a different sector of the world to pollute. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. They're going to just, no one's going to regulate China's industry.
They're going to lie about everything, Yeah. So, and then the Trans-Pacific Partnership, I thought the real thing about that I hated was intellectual property laws were going to be adjudicated by an international tribunal. So you would have people who had intellectual property in the United States, and you'd have an extra governmental body not comprised of the United States deciding, disputes about that intellectual property. And that would just, to my mind, that would lead to a transfer of of significant assets outside the country with no benefit to America. So, but then when on balance, when President Trump started keeping the promises he made about putting America first, that brought me into the fold and started, like I said, really paying attention and really starting to support him.
So how did the outfit come together?
The outfit is kind of an outgrowth of 2018 when they started deplatforming everybody. So Alex Jones is being taken off the air. I've lost track of all the people who were taken off at that time. But in 2018, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on YouTube, you had a target on your back.
Some have come back, but a lot have not.
Correct. And who knows what that interruption in their social media platform has done to their message. Some people have really been hampered by it. But I figured if, I was at that time, I was on the Donald on Reddit, and I was making memes and doing stuff like that.
So it's just like a big Trump fan Reddit
exactly.
page. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And weaponized memetics is what we were doing. So I figured if you can't do this online anymore and you're going to cancel for it, I'm just going to start doing it in real life. So I ordered a Trump hat. I started wearing it out in public. And the first day I got it, I went to the most liberal mall in San Diego. And then, afterwards I went to get a dinner at, what was it? It was a Cheesecake Factory that was there. So I went to a Cheesecake Factory,
Love
ordered
the
a steak,
Cheesecake Factory.
figured that, but then when I went to pay, it was already taken care of.
Just for wearing a Trump hat.
Somebody had purchased my meal because I was wearing a Trump hat in public.
Wow.
And that's when I realized, okay,
in 2018,
there's something going on here.
There's something
going on. There's a hidden level of support that people want to express, but they can't do it. So that just emboldened me to continue wearing my hat in public. And I would go to like farmers markets or baseball games, golf tournaments. I would just wear the Trump hat wherever I could. And that summer, or shortly after that, my dad and I were going to a convention in Pennsylvania for the historical society that we're members of. And he was already back east, and I was in San Diego, and I was going to fly and meet him in DC, and then we were going to drive up to the conference. And we're going to have a few days later at the end of the trip in Washington, DC proper to do some stuff. And I figured, okay, the hat is not going to be enough to go to DC. I need more than the hat. So
there's going to be other people wearing hats to stand out.
I just wanted to be more. I wanted to have more of an inciting presence for the leftists I felt I would encounter in DC. It's something to really, not just a hat, more. So I was thinking about what.
And not all triggering is bad. And it's not like you're just trying to piss people off. It's more like, hey, I want to let people know that Trump has a lot of support, that it's not something to be ashamed of or hide. No, exactly. And so, I thought about what can I get, and like I can't really wear anything about lower taxes because that was like the tax passage was passing right there, and then for some reason into my mind came the thought of what about a wall suit? So I literally put it in a search engine, wall suit, and then pictures of this came up, and I bought the suit. This is great.
And I wore it on the plane to from San Diego to DC. But the key part here is that the day before I was leaving for Pennsylvania, President Trump announced a rally that was in Montoursville, Pennsylvania. And I was at work and I saw the notice. I pulled it up and wow, it's only 120 miles away from where I'm going to be. It's the last 2 days of my trip. I'm going to have the time. I'd already been to 2 rallies, so I had an idea of what it would be like to go there, and like when I need to get there. So I got there. I was second in line behind a couple from Nebraska, had driven all the way out. And I had the suit in a bag. It was raining. I'm sitting in a chair under an umbrella, and it was miserable. The first changing room where I put on the suit was, of course, the all access porta potty. It makes a nice green room of sort. I think it was actually blue plastic, so we'll call it a blue room. So came out of that, and that was my first appearance at a political event as Brick Suit. Even though I did wear this on the plane flying to DC and through the airport. And
did you sort of come up with the nickname Brick Suit, or was it kind of
that came
put upon you?
That came after. So, so at that rally, I got on the front row. President Trump noticed me and called me up on stage. I did not think that was going to happen.
Do you think he knew what you were trying to do? Do you think he knew you were trying to dress like the wall?
Yes, because he was talking about the wall.
Okay.
If you go back to the clip,
you're like,
he's talking about the wall. He's scanning crowd. Look at that guy. Okay, get him up here. get him up here. And I'm like, and I have a total out of body experience. At
Did
that
you
time.
crap your pants?
It
I
was-
would have lost
Here's what's
it.
going on. I thought the most I would get was like a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay. So and people tell me, I call you up. I'm like, no, I'm not just thumbs up. That's it. So I remember him saying, get him up here. And then people are patting me on the back, go. And then like, wait, he's really calling me. Now, a rational person at that point in time would be like, how do I get to the stage? Look for the Secret Service, what to do. No, not me. I'm just like, climb the fence and get up there. Right? So I
Like,
start hopping over the metal
chose me.
fence.
Yeah.
And there's like this flag bunting. And I remember the last thing I was thinking is like, don't step on the flag as you're hopping over the fence and don't fall.
You did both.
I did not do either. I did not
Oh,
step on the
good.
flag and I didn't fall. But I don't remember anything really about that until I was coming off the stage. I mean, everything that I did when I went up on the stage and talked to the president and, shook his hand, says hello, don't remember. I have no conscious memory of it. It was really all autopilot. And
Wow.
then when I got off, my brother called me and he said, you put your hand on his shoulder. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I just shook his hand. And watch it on YouTube. You put your hand on his shoulder. And sure enough, I did. So, I think it was a really, there's can you think of a politician or a nation where that happens? Where the president calls somebody up on stage?
Not at all.
Does it happen in Germany? Does
No.
it happen in France? Does it happen in England? Does it happen in Australia?
Probably doesn't happen in North Korea.
It does. Certainly doesn't happen in North Korea. Does it happen in America? Well, it did, but with who else? And I think that President Trump bringing me on stage at that time is really talks to his connection with American people and with his supporters, that he has a comfort level that he can do that.
So
And
after he took you on stage, were you at that rally by yourself or you went with your dad?
I was there by myself.
Okay. And so what was it like? Did you have a lot of friends and family reach out to you, be like, I saw you on
Oh, yeah.
stage?
Yeah. I had no social media at the time.
Okay.
So I had no Twitter, no YouTube, not even MySpace, then nothing, like nothing, no legacy. So somehow Fox and Friends got in touch with me and I talked to their producer that night. I was super tired. Honestly, I didn't even know what Fox and Friends was.
Mhm.
Didn't even know what the show was like.
Mhm.
And so he said, yeah, we'd like you to do a remote when you get back to San Diego. So I did that. And it was really weird. Like I wore the suit back through the airport, flying back from DC, and like the people at the rental car place had seen it.
Wow.
People were buying me, offered to buy me beers at the bar. I went through TSA and they said, can you put your hat back on? I want to take a picture. And I'm like, wait, let me get this straight.
Wait, you like this?
You want me to put my hat back on? And so I did that. So, so it was interesting. And then to get to the question of where did I become Brick Suit? Well, I had another online account name that I was using on Reddit, but then when you get called up by the president wearing a brick suit, you kind of become Brick Suit. So
Did he call you Brick Suit?
no, he
Or
didn't.
just
He
said,
didn't.
"Hey,
But that's
you."
what I was
Okay.
wearing. So what
Yeah,
is this?
right.
Wall suit
What are you,
doesn't.
wall guy?
Wall
Yeah.
suit doesn't really have quite the ring to it. Wall suit, wall guy. Brick suit, just descriptive, evocative of that moment. And I just settled as that as what I would use on social media going forward.
How many suits are there?
There are at least 3 and fewer than 10.
Ooh, and this is not something you can just buy anymore.
Not anymore. They are out of production. These are actually suits made in England for gentlemen to wear out to stag parties in London.
It was a stag party, like a meet and greet, or like a single guy party.
It's like you're getting married, and
Oh, like a bachelor
it's
party.
like a bachelorette party.
Okay.
That's what they call them in London, a stag party. And I'm not going to say that the English gentlemen have a reputation for drinking, but maybe they have a reputation
So
for
why
drinking.
did they like the brick suit? thing?
It's not the brick suit itself. It's like there's a dress codes at the best clubs in London that men coming in have to wear suits, but they want to get really drunk and fall down drunk.
And look
fall
silly.
down
Yeah.
drunk. So enter the industry of costume suits that meet the dress code,
but
but
they're
are-
still fun.
but are cheap. And then you can look in everybody, you can tell the whole group is together. Like everybody's got
And now they have
a
all these
sky suit.
Christmas suits
Right,
out now.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like that, so that's
Okay, that's
so they were
fun.
made for that, and they are now out of production. And for some reason, they made brick suits, and it worked in conjunction
Have
with the
you
wall.
ever seen somebody trying to copy you?
Yes. Yes.
Where? When?
There is a gentleman in Pennsylvania who does have a suit. He goes to rallies. He does not wear the hat, so And
Does
that-
he kind of look like you?
He does not. I have a little bit more hair
You
than
have
him.
to
you know?
confront him. This can't stand.
Well, it's like I'm not. On one level, I'm sort of upset about it. He went to a rally in Moon County in
So
outside
people think he
Pittsburgh.
was you.
The president called him out and thought he was me, and he stood up. He just stood up. He actually stood up like he was me going to all the rallies, right? So, with the
My
exception,
God, stolen valor.
yes, you could say that. It definitely was. Now, so on one level, I could get all upset about it, but he does stay just to Pittsburgh, so I know kind of where he's going to be. And
Yeah.
I
Stay
do
in Pittsburgh.
I do try and travel to that area just so I can be there just in case, But I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure he knows what he's doing is wrong. He struck me as kind of the guy who, like, if he's a woman, might wear white to somebody else's wedding. Just doesn't
Right. And you're
realize.
also not even apparently allowed to wear red because it means you slept with the groom.
I haven't heard that one.
That's a thing.
I did not know that. I have
Mhm.
learned something today. I did not know that. All right.
That's funny. We have a super chat. I was thinking this as well. This is my husband, Frank. Question for Mr. Suit. Has he reconnected with his long lost brother, Gavin McGinnis, yet?
That's a very interesting question. Gavin McGinnis, everybody, this is the beard identification guide.
He's
okay?
a buddy too. He's
The
a
beard
friend.
identification guide. This part is Gavin, but Gavin's got the full beard on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. And Seb Gorka.
You have similar like hair too. Like
Seb
overall.
Gorka is
He's
it's
down.
down. So that's
He has
Seb
like
Gorka.
a little bit of like
Okay.
a cat, like a wet
Right.
cat mustache.
So this is I'm trying to differentiate myself, and of
This
course,
is Gavin. This is Sebastian Gorka.
right, and then of course, if we're talking about beards, we have to include Paul Pelosi, and his beard is Nancy.
That's funny. That's the best joke of the day. For sure. Have you ever met Gavin?
I have not.
He's super funny. I think you
I have
guys would
not.
really get along.
I've said that I have been him because people come up to me in Vegas and say, "Are you Gavin?" And I don't
Oh,
really,
wow.
I don't really want to let them down. I'm like, "No, I'm not Gavin." "No, you really are." "Okay, I am." And then I take a photo with them and they tell their friends that it's
Oh,
Gavin.
that's
And of course
cool.
it's not. So I've never used it for evil, but I just feel bad letting people down who think I am Gavin.
Yeah.
And so I would go along with it.
At least you're not like, copying Gavin's outfits and
No.
stealing his valor.
Of course not.
Who
Of
would
course
do
not.
such a thing?
Of course not.
Thank you, Frank. Oh my goodness. So what did your friends, family think of your fame? Let me look up your God. Do I even follow you on Twitter?
I'm not sure.
Are you just Brick Suit on Twitter?
Brick_suit.
Brick_suit. You
Yeah,
are
we follow each other.
you're a viral sensation. We follow each other. Yeah, you're crushing it. And this is okay. So I'm gonna bring up your Twitter account. This looks like a picture from that first
It is
rally.
and the
where...
pin tweet is at the actual moment when he brought me on stage.
How amazing. What a cool dude. Oh my God.
And I'll probably never change that profile picture.
No, why would we?
No.
How to top
I mean, you
that?
think of like, comic book heroes, they have their origin stories.
Wow.
There's mine right there. That's it. That's
What do
how it
your
happened.
friends, family, I don't know if you're still at the same job, like what does everyone think of your kind of fame? And there was a question if you had brick underwear.
Yeah, it's a little private. I'm not going to go into that.
Well, you'll never know, guys. Yeah, what do friends and family think of your kind of fame?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I mean, you work with people and a cross section of people. Some people are going to be not supportive and some people will be supportive.
I found every job I've ever had, I have to just like really hide my personality because I've just found like once they know I do stand-up comedy, once I start talking about shows, like once maybe I have a coworker, I feel like it's the beginning of the end, and I'm just gonna lose the job.
So there were negative reactions, there were positive reactions, but on balance, I think people even disagreed with my political stance, still thought it was cool that I got called up on stage with the president.
Yeah.
So no real problems at work and for family.
Okay, that's good. How exciting. What are your thoughts about? I guess I know we're on YouTube. We can't talk about the obvious election concerns,
Mhm.
but are you feeling good about where he's at? How has your sort of fandom for
Sure.
Trump evolved since 2018?
Well, if we want to talk about the next elections coming up, I think the key thing is really to what degree people are going to get involved. And people don't realize that in business there's a phrase called the last mile, which is you've got a factory that produces the product and it goes from that factory to wherever it's going to be sold. But how do you get it from, how does the consumer get the product? And so like in Amazon, the last mile is factory, and then they deliver it to you at a store where you can buy it. That's where you do. So, social media for me has evolved, and like I get a message out there, but the people who, and you might think that maybe I have an outsized influence, but the reality is that anybody who's watching my content or your content, they have the outsized influence with the people around them. They are the last mile bringing that message to the people that they know. They have way more impact than I could have. And so to the extent that I would just like to encourage more people to overtly support candidates of their choice in public. Now, in the case of President Trump, an example would be going to his website, buying a hat, keeping that hat in your car. So when, I'm in a good mood, I'm going to be around people, I'm going to put my hat on, I'm going to go out, I'm going to be a happy Trump supporter. Don't do it if you're in a bad mood, because you are kind of a brand ambassador for whatever candidate you want to do it for, but try it and you might like it. Now that's one way you can advocate for your candidate. The other is I would really encourage people to volunteer for a candidate. I did that last year. I did some door knocking for Kerry Lake here in Arizona, and some other candidites here in Arizona.
And you're based here?
No, I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
I would drive from San Diego to here to go door knocking for a weekend, and then I did that for like 5 weeks, which is nothing compared to what some people volunteer, but it gave me a taste of what volunteering is for, and the impact it can have and the need for it. And I think some people look at volunteering and they look at, let me just ask you this question. Who's the most well-known political volunteer that you know of in social media or something like that? I mean, like somebody just doing it on a volunteer basis.
Gosh, I guess there's a few. Wow.
The one that comes to mind for a lot of people is Scott Preston.
Oh, yeah. Okay, of course. Yeah, so, like everybody in the walkaway movement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. But they see what these guys are doing, and these women are doing, and they think, I could never do that. That's too much time. I could never be, and they think that that's what's needed for political volunteering, and it's not. You can do phone banking from your home 4 hours a week. You could do, 2 weekends, like 2 4-hour door knocking canvassing sessions a month.
Right.
You can devote as much time as you want to it or as little, but the point is that all of that volunteer effort adds up, and nobody's asking you to be the next Scott Pressler or the next Brandon Strzok. It's like contribute what you can, and it helps, and it makes a huge difference. And of every 100 people who try it, some are really going to like it, and maybe they decide to do more of it. Some are going to say, hey, this isn't for me, and they'll drop away. But at least you try. And I just encourage you to give it a shot, to learn what you can do in your local government. If it's a local election, a state election, or a federal election, find a candidate you support and consider volunteering for them. And you may discover that you enjoy it. And like I said, you don't have to devote oodles of your time. You're not, but at the same point, when the dust has settled, you might be happier that you did that and you made an effort than, hey man, I really knocked out that binge watching Yellowstone for the third time.
I watched all of Squid Game.
Yeah, exactly.
I did do that.
So I'm just saying there's advantages to that.
Any upcoming rallies that you're excited to go to?
I'm thinking about going to the last week in Iowa before the caucuses. I haven't been going to many rallies because I so far this year, because I felt strongly that President Trump is going to win the nomination, and I'm saving my vacation time and my capital to go to the rallies during the general election. Although I did go to South Dakota. I did go to South Dakota for the rally after he was, after he was booked and photographed. I went to that one, and I felt it was important to get out there and still show support for him. And I saw him in LA. I saw him at UFC
cool.
just on Saturday. And rally schedule will be starting in earnest for me come the tail end of the primaries and the general.
Do you get these custom made? Do you like pockets for snacks? Like if you're at a long
There are
rally?
no pockets for snacks, but I'm not going to put my feet up on the table, but I have developed a strategy. The pants are, like I said, they're costume pants. They literally have no back pockets, and the front pockets are not attached. So if you put like a car key in it the wrong way, it just falls all the way.
Oh no.
So I have adopted the strategy of wearing boots, and my boots are kind of like my wallet. I buy like a battery pack down there and a charging cord. And
a backpack, a bag would ruin the aesthetic.
No, you can't. You got to travel. I've tried it. It just doesn't work. You're scrambling around. oh, here's my back. I got to put that down. Then I take a photo, pick it up, and you lose it. So I just,
Yeah,
I use the boot.
it's like
wallet
how
system.
women, we carry stuff in our bra sometimes. Guys, you can put it in your boot. Has anyone ever had you like sign a brick?
I have not signed a brick. I've signed
Wow.
hats,
Okay.
shirts, pictures, flyers. So a few autographs.
I'm so shocked no one's had you sign a brick. I wish I had one.
Well, how could you get a brick in here? Speaking of
Oh,
bricks,
right.
I was walking.
They wand you down.
I was walking to the convention today, and behind this fence on a vacant lot was a pallet of bricks, and I was so upset about it. Like, here are my bricks in cages in downtown Phoenix. How dare they treat my brothers and sisters of Brickland so horribly? And there they were, just behind a fence.
Your brick brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Not to be confused with all the pallets of bricks were conveniently placed for the summer of love.
Yes, thank you, George Soros.
Yeah, so those are not my brothers and sisters. They're not in bondage now.
No, those are bad bricks.
No.
Just good bricks. Do you go by your like real name at all, or just brick suit?
Not usually.
Okay.
I just go by Brick Suit because for me, what I'm doing in terms of social media presence and highlighting Trump's policies is not about me personally. So I don't make any effort to attach my name to it. I think it's, as I said before, President Trump calling me up on stage is kind of a touchstone moment for people where they remember that moment and remember how he connected with somebody from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think just being Brick Suit calls that back to mind rather than saying, my name as Brick Suit.
Yeah.
So I know, that's my
suits you.
Oh.
No, it's great. You're just a delightful, fun presence. And it was great to finally meet and chat with you for a little bit.
It's been very fun as well.
I hope I see you again at one of these things.
Okay.
All right. Thank
It'll
you for your
happen.
time. I'm going to get
All right.
Mr. Billboard Chris on here.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm glad I already follow you. I've been so embarrassed if I
That
hadn't.
was fine. That was fine.
Yes, take a thing.
got it.
If I'm in San Diego, January 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Are you really?
I can
All right.
put you on the comp list if you want to come see a
I will
show.
come see a show. I got a guy who wants to come with.
Yes, I promise it'll be funny.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll DM. Are you DM?
I'm DMable. Yeah. Thank
Can I
you,
wear-
Brick.
can I wear the jacket?
Please
Wait,
wear it.
wait, are you to set a comedy show?
It'll be a comedy show. Yeah, stand up. Oh, they might have one there, but I could do, if they don't have one, I'll just do stand up with you in the background. Yeah.
I always thought about doing stand up and I would get on stage and I would just face the bricks.
Yeah.
Or I would have a wall of people behind me. I don't
That
know.
would be great. That would be great.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
I
for
will
your
see you in
time.
January.
Definitely. Okay, good. I'm excited. Chris, my love. He's here. This is fantastic. We hung out last night for a little bit. We had a lovely dinner.
See you.
Thank you for inviting me to dinner. I had nowhere to go. I was hungry. I was abandoned by my friends. This is not your first turn. Everyone knows this is Billboard Chris. He's been on the show at least once, maybe twice.
I think twice. Yeah.
He's known, if you don't recognize him, he always has a billboard on him, sandwich boards that either say like a certain definition of dad or children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Like,
That's right.
how many different billboards are you wearing around?
Normally just the two. Children cannot consent to puberty blockers and my definition of a dad, which is a human male who protects his kids from gender ideology. I've got some that say gender ideology does not belong in schools. Children are never born in the wrong body. I've got my definition of a mom, which is the same as a dad. But those ones I reserve for other people when they come up with me.
And like, it's amazing. Like we've been talking like how much of these, you have so many viral moments, like really in all these different countries, and so many of these things, like these rallies or these protests, like you kind of go by yourself. And just, I always like when I see a video, I just like, God, I hope I'm like, you don't get hurt or nobody messes with you, but it definitely helps, like being like over 6 feet tall. I bet that like maybe only a certain type of person maybe tries to mess with you. Or you were talking to me yesterday about how this one cop was like trying to intimidate you. What it was when you were like outside or near the Disney store
In Dublin.
Yeah. And you knew
Yeah,
you
he
knew
said
your
I'd
rights.
get arrested if I went near the Disney store because the Disney store had complained about me being outside on a public street. They'd actually said I'd gone in their store, which I hadn't. So I said, please go look at the CCTV footage. So either someone called in a false report or he got it wrong or whatever. But yeah, he was telling me not to go near the Disney store. I could face arrest because he cited Section 7 of their criminal code, which said if I caused offense to somebody, they could arrest me. Now, that's not what the criminal code even says. He got it wrong, or he was making it up. And I just said, please do arrest me. I'd love it. It'd be great for my campaign. And right away, I could see his body language shift a little bit.
He's like, what?
Put him on his back foot a little. He said, why would it be good for your campaign? I said, because this will make media all around the world. And I know I've done nothing wrong. And I'll get to have a nap in jail. And yeah, I'll just reach millions. And right away, that took his power away. And maybe that threat works for some people, but not for me, because I'd actually love getting arrested. I've been arrested twice after getting assaulted.
Love getting arrested.
And it's fun. I got to have nice talks with some of the employees in the jail before, who also thought it was hilarious that I got arrested.
Oh, cool.
And I get released and nothing happens. So whatever.
So you're very good at being arrested. That's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's so neat. So what have you thought of the convention so far? This is not your first Turning Point event, but I think now
this is my first Turning Point event.
Oh, it is your first Turning Point event. And I think you're going to now work with them officially. Yeah,
I had just started. I spoke at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo a few weeks ago, and we got 300 or 400 counter protesters putting on a drag show.
Specifically being there, or just like the event?
Yeah, for me.
Oh, wow. That's kind of like an honor. Like, oh, you guys came out to counter protest just for me.
I invited Chloe Cole to come with me as well. So for the both of us.
Okay. God, I don't know who
But they also had, she's a young detransitioner.
Okay.
She was on stage this morning. When she was 15 years old, they cut off her breasts at Kaiser Permanente. When she was 13, she was put on puberty blockers and testosterone. And she's on the autism spectrum and had suffered a sexual assault and just was having a bad time in life. And instead of dealing with those, they just said, yeah, you're really secretly a boy trapped on the inside. But yeah, they put on 3 days of therapy as well for the kids at the campus, the students, the adults, because apparently it's so traumatic to have someone share their lived experience.
Someone to just, speak is really traumatizing.
Right.
It's insane.
But I'm going to be doing a lot more university talks this coming year.
Good. You should be. That's really great. And explain to me why you sometimes like to bring a female with you in your billboarding crusades.
So people all the time want to come out with me, but I'm not there to hold a protest. So I don't want 10 or 20 people with me. Ideally, it's 2 or 3 people maximum, because too many people makes it intimidating for others to come and talk to me.
Okay.
Because I'm there to have conversations, not to have a protest. I record them, I post them online. But the ideal combination is probably
record everything just by yourself. You don't have a cameraman or anything like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I set up a tripod. But if it's a more hostile territory, then someone will try to steal my phone, so I just hold it.
Yeah.
But the ideal combination is probably me and a woman, because some women just want to talk to women, obviously. And if it's just me on my own, I think people see a tall white guy with a shaved head, and it gives them...
They prejudge you.
Yes, how dare they?
Unbelievable that this is still happening. I thought we were doing equality.
The bigotry.
Yeah.
It gives them license, I think, in their head to abuse me. But if there's a young 100-pound woman with me, it's honestly some of the best security I can have, because it just totally changes the presentation, softens the presentation, confuses them. And yeah, I think a young woman is probably my best security of all.
Or what about a young, pregnant, maybe slightly heading towards 140-pound woman?
Yeah, that's
only because they're pregnant, not because they've thrown in the towel physically.
I think that would be phenomenal. We should
that would be great. Yeah,
come to New York and we'll get it done.
Next time you're in New York, that would be.
I didn't know you were pregnant yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know. I guess I sometimes I just I tell people right away, and then you don't want to be constantly saying it, because then you don't want it to make it look like this is my whole personality now. But I don't know. I just make a lot of jokes about it. It's been it's been interesting to have because to be at one of these things and be now I'm kind of the designated driver, and by that I mean I just make sure everybody gets back to their hotels and doesn't do anything stupid and doesn't drop their drinks or anything like that.
Yeah, your life's gonna change.
Yeah, you were showing me pictures of your adorable family yesterday at dinner, and one of your daughters looks so much like you. Oh, from Frank. This is my husband. When Chris is traveling, does he get a chance to enjoy sights or different cities or cultures at all? What have been his favorite traveling experiences?
So generally speaking, no. I go to all these amazing places and I stand on the street and I never see anything. I never have time. But I did get to see a few sites in London. at the end of October, beginning of November. Someone gave me a private tour of Parliament, which was very cool.
Ooh.
And I went to the Tower of London with Tina Deskovich, the co-founder of Moms for Liberty.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun.
I
But
know
otherwise,
how
no.
that feels. Like I feel like I do a lot of stand up in cities. I never see the city. I don't really see the sights ever. But I might have a couple of free hours where I like maybe do one thing or do one restaurant or something. But yeah, I know the feeling of like you go to a lot of places but you don't really see anything.
Yeah, I meet a lot of amazing people though.
Yeah.
So that's something.
I really give you such props because just doing man on the street, like conversations, it's like that. You have a real skill set. You have to be a real certain type of person to not be afraid of conflict, not be afraid of a fight, not be afraid. Like you actually like you have to know your facts inside and out. You can't let yourself get riled up by people, and you probably get approached by all types of triggered, angry, confused, misinformed folks.
Yes, they tend to just do drive-bys. They flip me off, they yell at me, and they keep going. Of course, men tend to be more violent. It's mostly young women who hate me, young white women. But of course, men with all their testosterone,
Why do you think that is?
are the ones who throw punches. So, just according to the big 5 personality traits, women are naturally more agreeable. They tend to be. I think this ideology preys on their natural empathy because this has been sold as a human rights movement. The kids are going to kill themselves if we don't cut off their body parts
to care
and
for
sterilize
the less
them.
fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, so they believe these lies they've been told that kids are going to kill themselves. It's mostly women taking gender studies courses in universities where they're all getting
Which was
brainwashed.
me. That was me.
Well, there you go.
Women's studies minor.
And
Woo!
social justice is just something that women get more into. And that's what this movement has been sold as.
Yep.
And they've also been told that, you know, white people are bad and men are bad. And most of these young women would call themselves feminists because the radical feminists who are against gender ideology make up probably 5% of all the feminists that are out there. The rest are these new breed of intersectional feminists who just kind of hate the world, you know?
Yeah, it can be sort of like a catch-all for a lot of just like angst and hostility, and just seems like there's a new victim group du jour. There's like, you know, it was BLM and BLM turns into PLM, and now it's like the Israel-Palestine thing. It's like similar, like these activists kind of like act and smell the same, but it's almost like they get pointed and directed at different causes. It seems very coordinated and on purpose.
And when I was in London at the pro-Hamas protest, which I call it that, I don't call it the pro-Palestine protest. These people don't even know why they're there, honestly. Not the white people anyway. They're just there because it's the thing to do.
To be a good person.
But this young guy with an American accent, or maybe he was Canadian, he yelled at me, "You effing fascist," because I had my signs on. And I thought, great, this is an invitation for a conversation. Because that's how I roll. And so I struck up a conversation and I did my usual thing, started asking him questions because they can't define any of their terms. They don't know what it is they believe. And then 3 young Muslim girls came along. They're probably 16, 17, 18. And they wanted to see what all the hubbub was about. And he turned to them for support. Said something like, this guy thinks kids can't be trans.
He profiled them. Or like, no, I mean, he just assumed by looking at them that they would be on his side.
Well, this is where intersectionality comes into play and where he's there for their cause. They're certainly not there for his cause. And he said something like, he thinks kids can't be trans. And they said, they can't. And then they proceeded to berate him for about a minute straight. And he ran off with his tail tucked between his legs. And that video must have been seen probably 50 million times. It got retweeted by so many people.
Wow. What's your most viral video right now?
Well, right now, currently, is from 2 days ago.
Just 2 days ago.
A man outside here, actually, outside a hotel a block away. I went out on the street in the morning just to have some conversations with some conference people, and I ran into this guy. The streets were empty. And he lost his kid to this because the mother of his child decided that their 2-year-old boy was a girl.
Was he attending the event this weekend? Okay.
He actually spoke on a panel this morning. This is
wow.
not his thing. He's actually a trash collector by day. He's just a regular Joe.
Regular guy.
But he's a super nice guy. But he now has a 5-year restraining order because he won't affirm his child. He's not allowed to talk to his own son. There's been no violence.
So
There's been no threats of violence. He just told his wife, like, stop putting my kid in a dress. His ex-wife.
It's so scary. It's like.
And the court's on his side. He got this famous LGBTQ judge that put the first restraining order in place. That judge has recused himself for some unknown reason. Now there's a new pathetic judge. So he lost his kid.
It's so scary for so many reasons. Like we already have this kind of like anti-marriage movement sort of like brewing under the red pill community, and then you see instances like this, and it's like it's just another reason why I could see a certain type of guy being like, well, why would I get married? Because I'm just gonna be at the mercy if I happen to marry a left-wing woman who's gonna just take my children hostage and trans them without my consent, and then you lose custody. It just seems like such a nightmare. And
you just gave me a great idea. So we talked last night. I'm going to be ramping up all my social media platforms in the new year.
Right, you're starting a YouTube channel.
I have one, but I've never done anything with it. I've got like 4 videos. But I want to get TikTok going too, because we need to reach that demographic.
That's where the youth is.
That's where the under 30 crowd is. That's where they get their news from. Scary.
That is scary.
But I think you and we said we'll do some videos together. We need to reach these young men and educate them why they should never date a leftist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're at all wanting to be a dad or get married, right?
That's right.
Get married or want to be a dad. It's like, well, this is the biggest reason. It's like it extends way past like an awkward Thanksgiving or like, oh, I just will avoid these topics with my leftist girlfriend, or I just won't talk about what I'm reading or listening to with her on this. But it's like it comes down like that's your kid. Like that's the most important thing.
It's all that matters. And all these young guys reject this. I get high school kids coming up to me on the street all the time. The boys, they love what I'm doing. I remember way back 3 years ago, it stuck in my mind so much. I got out of my car. I was just putting on my signs, and there was this young dude in the parking lot. And the relief on him was physical relief, because all this crap is going on in their schools. They're not allowed to say
How old is
anything. He was probably 16, 17. They see all these girls transitioning, calling themselves whatever. And it was finally the first time that he saw someone standing up against it. And all these young guys are on my side. A lot of the young women are too, but it's that demographic that's being captured.
Even younger than high school, I see like middle school age boys, like they're not down with it.
They're not down with it at all.
They're kind of just like, if they have a teacher that's about it, they're like kind of like, okay, like yes them, but really they're like rolling their eyes and they know that it's bogus.
Yeah, so we need to give them some tools. We need to make this cool. We can make it funny.
Yeah.
And we need to provide an alternative to Andrew Tate for these guys to look up to.
Right. That's because they're not good examples of mentors.
Correct.
Yeah, he's more like just like a hustler.
He's a con man, cyber pimp is what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gives them the shaved head demographic a bad name, I think.
I first started hearing about him about a year ago on the street, and I didn't know who he was. But leftists would be complaining about me and compare me to him, and
You?
Yeah, because all they see is, oh, he's a conservative or whatever. He doesn't share our left-wing views, therefore he must equal Andrew Tate.
Jeez.
This is the level of thinking that goes into a leftist's mind.
Oof.
They don't think like me, therefore they're all the same.
That's true, and there's leftists who think gays against groomers are just against being gay. Like that's really what they think the group
Right, gay
does.
people against being
And
gay.
It's like, oh wow, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
Look at who's involved. Like, look, there's tons of gay people in the organization, and like, it just blows my mind. How the degrees to which people misunderstand what folks stand for.
Yeah, and this issue that I talk about is harming kids who would grow up to be gay.
Right.
A ton of these kids, historically, before this craze, if you look at all the studies, most of the kids with severe gender dysphoria from a young age, most of them grew up to be gay.
They're just, maybe they're a little like have a little bit internalized homophobia, and they go, well, this is the way I can still be straight and normal. I just have to like get some surgeries, and maybe my parents will still accept me. Ugh, it's so hard.
Right. We've got one of the top doctors in the country, Jeremy Carswell is her name. She runs the Boston Children's Hospital Gender Clinic, and she says in a video that playing with the opposite gender toys, this is a sign your child is transgender. Or a girl trying to pee standing up, a little girl. A boy playing
we all
dress up.
try to pee standing up.
It's fun.
It's how do you not?
Try. Yeah,
every few years I do still try. I go, hey, maybe this is the year.
And if a little girl has big brothers,
yeah,
of course she's going to try
trip
pee
or something.
standing
You're
up.
like, oh, you're Girl Scout. You're like, well, maybe I could. They do make something now called a sheeness, But like,
Yeah.
who's gonna first of all buy that and take it with them, and then like have it out, like happen to have it when they need to go to the bathroom? It's like,
Yeah, or there's the Wizinator 3000,
yes, I've
Yeah.
seen the Wizinator.
but that's more
Yeah.
for like hiding your bad drug sample.
Oh, right.
Yeah, guys use that to
Store up someone else's
store up
pee in?
someone else's urine. So yeah, I used to do
Unbelievable.
that when I worked out.
It's fun.
But no, this is harming kids who would grow up to be gay. It's harming autistic kids, kids in state care, kids who've suffered sexual abuse, trauma. It's just they're struggling with something. They don't have gender dysphoria. They're not something opposite of their sex. They're just struggling. Let's let them
Sometimes
grow
they
up.
just want to fit in. Sometimes it's like a lot with these like middle school, teenage age girls, like high school. They just want to fit in with their friend group, and they don't want to be the only one
Right.
left out, not being like something special or different.
Yeah, I was in Boston for the unveiling of that hideous Martin Luther King statue.
Oh God!
that one?
Oh my God! What looked like where like someone was like,
They
I
have
don't
no
know.
heads.
There was like someone was like looked like someone was eating an ass. I think that
Yeah,
statue. Yeah.
It looks like that, and it's brown and everything. But I was actually there for a protest the next day, but I went to that, and I ran into this. Well, actually, a young white woman started debating me. I don't even engage really. I just let her talk. But then a black woman came to counter her. A black mom with a brain in her head, 6 kids. She has 3 kids that are a bit older, and then she had a bit of a break, and then 3 more smaller kids. And with the newer generation of children, she tells me in her 11-year-old's middle school, all the girls say they're lesbian or bi or trans or non-binary. Literally all of them. Because that's what it's cool to be.
Yeah.
It's not cool to be straight.
You're gonna get praise from your teacher, praise from like the counselors, everybody at school. Kids are just looking to be like, well, what's gonna get me the most attention, validation, and that's gonna help me go through my life, basically. It's hard to be a kid, and they're just looking for praise. They're just looking for the adults around them to tell them that they're doing okay.
Yeah, and the numbers are still exploding. There's an article from the Daily Caller today showing Planned Parenthood numbers have increased 4 or 5-fold just in the last 2 or 3 years because they give out these puberty blockers and
Right.
hormones too.
Wow.
But the good news is, because it's not good to be all doom and gloom, we're making huge strides on the positive side too. Nobody was talking about this 3 years ago. Now this is the number 1 cultural issue of the day.
Wow.
Just in the last year, 20 states passed legislation to put a stop to this. Of course, all the conservative states. But that's how this starts. And then even in California in this next year, we've got about 5.5 months to get 550,000 signatures because there are 3 initiatives that will be on the ballot when people go to vote for president. 1 initiative to stop this child abuse, no more child transition. 1 to get men out of women's sports, and 1 to stop schools from hiding from parents that their child has new name and pronouns.
Yeah.
So we have the polling that supports this. I know this personally from having talked to tens of thousands of people. But professional polls say we have at least 75% support for all of these. So we just have to get signatures, and then Californians can write their own laws, and they can put a
Wow.
stop to this in California.
You really think it's possible?
100%. It's going to happen.
That is exciting.
We're going to get it done. Then it'll go to court. Then it'll go to the appeals court, and then it'll go to the Supreme Court. And
Because
that's ultimately what we need. Because already across the country, what you need to go to the Supreme Court is you need different rulings in different states, for and against. We already have that. But California will be another one, and this will go to the Supreme Court. And then we have a conservative Supreme Court. I say conservative, common sense Supreme Court. They can put a stop to this across the whole country.
And is California, or weren't they at one time like a safe haven for trans surgery?
Still is. So they passed a law last year. It's a sanctuary state. Any kid can run away from Texas or Tennessee, go to California, and they won't return the kid home. If there's a custodial dispute going on, the mom could bring the kid to California. They'll ignore custody agreements. They'll ignore court orders. They'll ignore subpoenas and arrest warrants even, so that they can transition the kid in California. Just lawlessness.
So could a kid just like buy a bus ticket,
Yes.
go by themselves, not tell their parents, and then
100%.
Planned Parenthood and we had a
They'll
really
put them in a home, and
we had a really interesting conversation last night at dinner, and it was like, I think it was Kobe was asking like, would you like, should adults transition it? And I answered like, yeah, sure, why not? Let people do what they want. Like if they're fully, because I think of Buck Angel, I think of Blair White, and I'm like, these are in my mind, like these are sane people with their shit together who really like battled through it, and they're like consciously decided that they want, that they're happier this way, and they weren't like asking for handouts or subsidies or anything like that. And then you had a really interesting response. You were like, actually, no, and it has to do with a doctor's responsibility.
So, yes, so you can do whatever you want to your body. A doctor is held to a higher standard. If some 18-year-old girl comes in and she's got borderline personality disorder and autism and she's suffered sexual abuse and she says, cut my breasts off, doctor, they're not just shopkeepers. They're not just order takers. They have a responsibility to screen for trauma, to screen for abuse, to screen for other mental health comorbidities, to treat those first, because they swore an oath to first do no harm. And cutting off body parts is causing harm. Giving testosterone to these women, estrogen to men, is causing harm.
Yeah, but you say like they're just not simply pharmacists for the mentally ill or something.
Yeah, they're not just order takers for the mentally ill, right? They're supposed to help them. So if someone has this severe, prolonged distress about their gender, and you've eliminated these other problems, like other mental health issues, like trauma, abuse, whatever, and someone's an adult and they want to do something in the body, okay. I mean, I guess you can't stop them.
But they should be screening for everything else.
They shouldn't just be taking everyone.
Right, and they get such kickbacks. I mean, we all know how expensive these gender surgeries are, and
affirmation only is what they practice.
Right.
That's not medicine. That's affirmation only.
Yeah, why
we don't do that to anything else in the world.
I could be like, look, I would feel like I would be affirmed if I got a nose job and like implant, like breast implants, like that would make me feel affirmed. Let's do that.
Yeah. What if you're having a mental breakdown? What if you've just had a terrible period in life?
Or a breakup, right?
And you're at your
trauma,
low.
abuse, yeah.
And now they make your low even lower. And a year later, you go, what the heck did you do to me? So there are lawsuits now that do involve people who started transitioning as adults, because yes, doctors do have more of a responsibility than just being an order taker. And for people who do transition as adults, of course, we all wish them the most healthy, prolonged, beautiful life possible. It's not about telling people they can't do what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's about protecting vulnerable people. And yes, my campaign focuses on kids, but you shouldn't be 18 years old, walk into Planned Parenthood and walk out with testosterone. That shouldn't be happening.
You're still a kid at 18. I mean, yeah, really, it's like I could almost understand, like, until you're like 25 or 30 even. It's just, they say so much of your brain isn't even fully formed until 25.
I did really dumb things when I was 20.
Yeah.
21, 22. 25 is, prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical decision making, keeps developing until about 25. For these neurodivergent kids, it's more like 30. Kids with autism and stuff. And you're still learning about the world. You've been an adult for a year. Mm-hmm. You're still living at home, living in the basement, playing video games all day. You're not a mature adult.
You can't transition until you're paying rent, I think.
There you go. And you should probably not be able to vote either until you're paying rent.
It's like you're going through all this, right? All the things that go along with gender dysphoria, problems on the inside you need to address. Now you're going to add on top of that, okay, now I have to upkeep hormones and I have to upkeep surgeries and like wound care and the complications that come with all this, and like the expense of it all.
And they're not getting informed consent. They're not getting information to be able to give informed consent. Because you read all these stories of these detransitioners, they had no idea what they were signing up for. Some of these young girls getting double mastectomies think that their breasts will grow back. Literally.
That's insane.
And
we're not starfish people.
Yeah, and we're not clownfish who can change their sex. Mm-hmm. You get these Democrats using that argument. Well, human beings are not clownfish. Can do that. Yeah, they've got some mechanism in place. But we're not clownfish, we're human beings. And we're all unique and beautiful in our own way, and that's the positive message we should be sending, is that we're beautiful just as we are. That you don't need drugs and hormones to be your true self.
Right.
That even this message of using the opposite pronouns, it's not a benign thing. When you call someone by the opposite pronouns, you're sending a message that they should be something that they're not.
Yeah, you're actually acknowledging who they truly are. Whereas they'll make it sound like you're doing the opposite.
Right. But these kids in school now going by the opposite pronouns, the teachers are using them, and all the other kids in school and the administrators are using them. They're getting thousands of reaffirmations that they are supposed to be something they're not. They've been indoctrinated into a cult, and now it's being solidified every single time we use those wrong pronouns for these kids.
Which is even more confusing.
So it's not benign, and I always encourage people to stop playing this game, because when you play that game, you've got one foot in this cult, indoctrinating our kids, and we need to just get back to reality. Because
Right.
if this ideology didn't exist, guess what? None of these kids would think they were born in the wrong body. They would have some distress during puberty.
There'd be
sure.
more tomboys. There'd be more like kind of effeminate gay guys, which are fine and
Totally
we love.
cool. There you go.
Yeah. There'd be guys, oh, I'm not gay or trans. I just want to be an interior designer. Great.
Yeah, that's right.
Wowie. How have you enjoyed the convention so far? Who did you most enjoy seeing? And what do you think they could do to maybe like make it better, or what do you think how they could maybe change the convention, or what should they add?
I think it's growing. They're growing very fast, and you can only grow so fast and be able to manage it. So I think they're doing a tremendous job. I'm just excited to be able to work with the universities. I'm excited to meet the representatives from Turning Point who can help me get into these universities and do these speaking events, because that's really powerful. I show up uninvited all the time to universities, but if I can have a formal event,
waiting for the sign to fall down.
yeah. But if I can have a formal event going on, we get the counter protests and little mini riots breaking out. Those are great for me,
Yeah.
because it generates media all over the world. It exposes how crazy the left has gotten. It wakes a whole bunch of people up, and I don't mind it one bit. So that's really powerful. It's nice to solidify my relationships with people like Charlie Kirk and Jack Posobiec and stuff like that, because I'm meeting a lot of the most powerful conservative people in the country and making good friendships with them. So
Yeah.
that's incredibly helpful. So I'm just thankful to make all these connections.
And you're kind of like the only one really doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
In the way that you're doing it. Like you're able to really reach people. Because I like that you're not someone who's about like the clout chasing or the VIP events, or like, oh, I want to get my follower count out. Like, yeah, like you will appreciate when something goes viral, but you really are just about talking to people and having conversations. You're like a humble guy. You're not like just trying to like get famous, I don't think.
I'm not some 25-year-old trying to be an influencer.
Yeah.
I detest that word. But, you know, back in 2020, I just had a vision for what I had to do, and I knew I could do it. And that's just simple. It's just having conversations out in the real world and being persistent and helping to educate others so that I can help them with their messaging. And there was this speech that Javier Milei gave, the new president of Argentina, recently, where he said he's not here to guide sheep, he's here to awaken lions.
Woo! I just got chills.
And that's what I'm trying to do, because I know for every 1,000 people I talk to, some of those people are going to be lions.
There are so many strong people that I think feel stifled and nervous, and people want to be canceled or fired or lose their friends or whatever. So it's like you really are like a leader in that way.
Yeah, and other people are wearing their own hats. There's a new law firm in Texas that just started up, 4 dads, all from different firms, felt a calling to represent these detransitioners. So they all left their firms, they left their income, started a new law firm from scratch. They've got 17 kids between them.
Wow.
One guy's a former Pittsburgh Steeler, Super Bowl
Cool.
champ. And now they've got a bunch of lawsuits going on representing these detransitioners. And one lawsuit is even suing the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is huge.
Wow.
Because they're going to have to defend their policy model, which was written by a resident named Jason Rafferty. He was still just a medical resident when he wrote their current policy. And they're able to sue the AAP because this guy was personally involved in the case of a girl in Rhode Island. So because she's suing and he was one of her doctors, they can link in the AAP. And there's going to be more of those lawsuits.
And there have been, I feel like, numerous hospitals who have been caught with language in their websites, or in, I guess, they're sort of like hospital protocol that's like really like not allowed. Like they've been caught kind of offering services they shouldn't, and they've had to either delete or backtrack on things. So
yeah, it's all being exposed. There's a whistleblower in Missouri named Jamie Reed. This is a woman who describes herself as a queer woman married to a trans man, politically left of Bernie Sanders. And she worked as a case manager at the Washington University Transgender Clinic for 4 years. Saw more than 1,000 kids come through her care. And she blew the whistle on all this, saying all the exact same things that I say. So we're totally different on the political spectrum.
wow,
But she confirmed it all. She submitted an affidavit to the Attorney General of Missouri. They've now passed a law to stop this. The law that they passed allowed them to continue seeing existing patients. However, it extended the statute of limitations so that people could sue out to 20, 25 years. And
Wow.
because that happened, the lawyers said, this is too much liability. We need to stop seeing these kids, period. So
Good.
even though they didn't ban it completely, the lawyers have said,
Made
we
it
can't afford
dangerous
the
for them.
liability. So now they're not doing it. And why are they afraid of liability?
Interesting.
If they're doing the loving scientific thing,
Yeah,
why
they're
are they
not
afraid
doing
of
anything
liability?
wrong. They're just affirming someone who needs help. What's the problem?
Right, because they know.
Yeah.
So between the Supreme Court, all these appellate courts, lawsuits flying, we're going to put a stop to this completely.
Good.
And then Canada can follow suit. I'm America first because America has to fix this first
We have to
before
lead the
Canada
way.
will do a thing.
Yeah. Can't expect Canada to lead the way.
Not in anything.
No.
Not even one conservative
not on
politician will say a thing.
hockey, not on anything.
Hey, hey, fighting words.
I just went to an Islanders game a couple days ago, and the puck didn't hit me in the head, but hit the plastic right above my head. It was very exciting. Cool, Chris. It was so good to bump into you and hang for a little bit. I see everyone is just breaking their sets down.
Yeah, they're getting ready
I think
to go.
I think did the chat all the panels are probably done.
What do we got going on here in the chat?
Oh, the chat. We have our own little chat. Oh, do we have a super chat here? Oh, thank you, Michael Sallow, for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Everyone loves you. It's unanimous support for Billboard Chris.
Yeah, of course. Everyone with a heart and half a brain supports that we shouldn't be harming children.
Yeah,
This isn't controversial.
the idea that affirmation of every patient is a good idea is wild. It's still medical malpractice if everyone else is doing it. Right. It's like they're just blinded by money.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of money. This is the fastest growing segment of Planned Parenthood's business. So we got to fight back. If people want to support me, they can donate through my website, billboardchris.com.
Okay.
But really, I just want people to learn about this and have these conversations because it's one conversation at a time. That's how we end this. That's my philosophy.
Yeah. We're going to start small. Thank you, Chris. What a delightful person you are. Let me check the schedule. I think they might be done with what is it? It's almost 12 here. Ted Cruz might be on, or Charlie Kirk might be wrapping up.
Oh yeah, I'll go check out the wrap up.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that too. Okay, thank you, Chris.
All right, you're my plus one.
Thanks for your time. Yes, we'll have to do those videos soon. And I'm excited.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye to the chat. That was Billboard Chris. I want to make sure we sounded great. Good, we sounded good. He's a hero. He's a dad. He's a Canadian. He's all the things. I'm gonna go try to catch the wrap up chat going on in the main room. This was fun, guys. And then I gotta pack all of this up and hop on a flight because I think Ryan has bounced. Ari has bounced. Everyone's leaving me. Yes, we'll have to do that. Oh, shucks. My gosh. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. And gosh, I have a couple of interviews coming up tomorrow from the channel. I think I will have Disparu on. And then Thursday, I'll be on the Side Scrollers podcast. I'm going to have Ian Crossland on and Jeremy Griggs on Thursday. And then, of course, Friday, I think I'm going to be having Anna Perez on the show. And then Friday Night Tights. And then, my God, it's Christmas Eve and Christmas. This is nuts. Everything's moving so fast. All right. Love you all. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.